Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm the Rambling Director, and I just watched the Super Mario Brothers movie. I gotta say right off the bat, I gotta grade this one on a bit of a curve, because I'm hopelessly biased. I said this in my trailer reaction, I'll repeat it here. I love Mario. It is my favorite game franchise. Super Mario World for the SNES is my favorite video game of all time. People say I'm a basic, my inner white girl. I'm really basic in that way. But it's just the truth. I think the Mario games have a charm to them that I've never seen in any other game series. And I love every one of them. So what did I think of this? Mario is one of my things. It's like one of those things that I have always loved. I actually had my own script for a Mario Brothers movie. That's how much of a nerd I am, okay? So, did it meet my expectations? Well, I expected initially that I wasn't going to like it. After seeing the trailer, I thought, I'm going to give it an honest go because it looks like they've really tried. Having seen it, there's only one way I can describe it. This is clearly a film that was made by people who love the Super Mario franchise. And you can tell, it eeps off of every frame of the movie that these are people who really love these games as much as I do. And that set my mind at ease, because within the first 30 minutes, I was certain I was in good hands, and I was able to just sit back and relax. Speaking of 30 minutes, this movie does not seem as long as it is. So this film is about Mario, who is a plumber in Brooklyn, who goes and, through a series of circumstances, ends up being transported through a pipe to the Mushroom Kingdom. Once he gets there, his job is to find Luigi, because they were separated on the journey. I like this. I thought that was an original way of taking it. I mean, yes, there's been games like that before. And in fact, there's a lot of Luigi's Mansion in this, strangely enough. I mean, in terms of, like, what they are trying to get across to you with the Luigi side of the story, which, funny enough, Luigi is kind of the B-plot. I would typically say, as a criticism, Princess Peach and Mario are the main characters of this film. Well, it's called the Super Mario Brothers, and I wanted to see Luigi and Mario interact more. It genuinely didn't bother me. And this is going to change depending on the person, but for me it didn't bother me because I would feel like a complete hypocrite if I came out here and told you, oh, the movie sucks because they gave Princess Peach too much development. I mean, like, one of my only criticisms of the games is that Princess Peach is like, she's a complete tool. And I mean, she's an annoying tool as well. I mean, yeah, I'll never forget that, like, when we get the letter from her, and she's like, due to my most recent kidnapping, like, you are really, really dependent, aren't you, Peach? But in this, they gave her a lot of development. They really fleshed her out and made her a character who can stand on her own. And maybe you'd say that kind of defeats the point of her being a damsel in distress. But again, Luigi was a damsel in distress too. And you just have to kind of accept that to make Peach a character that you weren't going to hate, you had to flesh her out a little bit more. But she still gets kidnapped, don't worry. There are so many references in this. After that first trailer that I reacted to, which was just a teaser, I haven't seen any more. I watched nothing else. I did not realize Donkey Kong is in this movie. I did not realize that there was going to be, I think it's the midpoint of the film, but honestly it's kind of hard to tell because this film didn't really feel like it had a 3-act structure. It was like the first 20 minutes, and then it was all building action, like it was building to the climax from the beginning of Act 2. But yeah, like right at the midpoint, there's this colossal Mario Kart homage, which even has them riding on the Rainbow Road. There's a lot of really clever humor in this. I thought the humor was actually one of the best parts of the film, which I didn't expect to be the case. It was a little bit like when I saw My Little Pony: A New Generation. I kind of thought, the 2022 version, I kind of thought, it was going to be more adventure-based, and when it was heavily reliant on its comedy, I was pretty surprised, and the comedy was good. Same with Super Mario Brothers. I didn't expect there to be a lot of comedy in this, or I thought it would be Dreamworks comedy, where it's, like poop and fart jokes, but there was no immature crap in this. This felt like a movie that was made as much for adults as it was for kids, which is clever because the majority of the people coming into your Mario movie probably are adults who played it as a child. But there's a lot of fun little bits of humor, like when one of the characters sits down in a church pew. I won't tell you why they're sitting in church pews. You'll have to watch the film to figure that out. He sits down, and he sits on a Koopa shell, and the Koopa shell starts bouncing in between him and the side. That's really clever. A little homage to the games, but also it was a funny little moment, and easy to miss. They didn't draw attention to it. It was just something happening in the background. Something else in the background. Each one of the maps takes a style from the different video games. I noticed, of course, Super Mario World being my favorite game of all time, I noticed one of the maps was drawn in the style of Super Mario World. That's really clever. Along with those references, there was musical cues from everything. I was really impressed, and what songs I was like, oh man, I wish they would have included that. Wouldn't you know it? They included it at the end credits in this great big medley of songs. I don't know. I wish I should have looked before I did the review. I don't know who did the music for this film, but my gosh, what a talent to be able to take all these cues and mix them together in a way that sounded new. Something that if you weren't familiar with the music, it just sounded like it belonged there, but if you were, you'd notice it. The one criticism I have with the music, actually, and my fiance disagreed with me on this, she thought the music was fine, so, and really liked this about it. I didn't. So I guess there's two types of people, and both points of view are valid. I thought that they used just two or three songs that were modern music. They're from our world. Like, they're diegetic songs. Like Take On Me by a-ha. I could have done without that because the score is so good. I would have liked them to have relied on that. It felt almost like they were like, well, every movie now that has to put 80 songs in it. It was easily 95% original music and 5%, couple songs that I don't personally think needed to be there. But they didn't annoy me so badly that I wanted to get rid of them, and some of them kind of worked, like Mario's alarm clock at the end. So it's all well and good to make Princess Peach a bigger character and flesh her out. Is she a good character? Yes, I think so. I was a little worried that she was going to fall into that stereotype, that strong, independent, strong female character who is so strong and so female that she forgets to have a character. But no, Princess Peach is pretty good in this, and Anya Taylor-Joy does a good job of delivering the lines. She's animated in a way that is got a lot of character to it. I would have liked to have seen more Luigi. I can't deny Luigi, he was underplayed a little bit too much in this film. Had they had maybe 15% more Luigi, I would have been quite happy. In fact, they even focus more on Bowser. Luigi really is just the damsel in distress in this film, which did disappoint me, I can't lie. But I didn't think that giving Princess Peach the development to actually understand why you were supposed to be rooting for Mario and Peach to... Well, come to think of it, they actually don't get together in this, surprisingly enough. They never really play up the romantic element of them at all. In fact, they almost come across like they're more friends than anything else. Which, can't deny, I like. I mean, like, how many times do you see, like, I'm not talking about, like, My Fair Lady or something from the 60s, but, like, in the modern day, how many films, especially children's film, do you see where there's a male and female protagonist that don't end up together at the end? I mean, I can think of a couple. Actually, funny enough, My Little Pony, A New Generation. That's another one that the male lead and the female lead don't end up together. It's nice. I don't know why they're suddenly deciding that it's okay for guys and girls to be friends in children's movies, but I like it. It's a trend that we've honestly needed for a while. Bowser, played by Jack Black, was fantastic. I I knew from the trailer that I was gonna love Jack Black as Bowser, but I was definitely surprised with the direction they went with him. I'm going to start getting into some spoilers here. So first, let me give one final thing. It's what everybody's been talking about. Chris Pratt's voice as Mario. Chris Pratt's voice. I cannot believe it. He sounds fine. Yeah, perfectly fine. In fact, they actually make a joke of him actually doing the Mario voice. He does it in the movie. He does the, "Let's go, it's me, Mario." He does it, and they make fun of it. It's a joke within the movie. So the rest of the film, when he's doing the Brooklyn accent, it's a joke. So, yeah, all of the people who were whining and bitching and moaning about, "Oh, Chris Pratt's he doesn't sound like an Italian stereotype." Well, there you go. So, now let's get into some spoilers. So what they did with Bowser, I thought was really funny, and I didn't expect it, but it makes perfect sense. They made Bowser they made him a big threat, but like, his motivation is he wants to not just kidnap Peach, but he actually just wants to marry her. And he's kind of a pansy when the curtain, when the curtain comes down and you see him for who he really is. He's just this guy who just has a crush. I oddly respect it. The other thing I want to talk about in the spoiler section is the ending. In the ending, they end up going back to Brooklyn. Basically, Mario tricks a Bullet Bill by the way, Mario kicks a Bullet Bill in the eyeball, and it looks incredibly painful. Good job to the animators on that. Blows up the portal between the worlds, and everybody ends up in Brooklyn. There's this side plot where Mario feels like he's a disappointment to his... No, actually, he is a disappointment to his father. His dad is really unlikable, like a really nasty character. And at the end, that redemption is not earned at all. It's really quite bad, actually. But then, it seems like that's the only reason they put them back in Brooklyn. It seems a bit to me like they just plopped him in there because, we built up that father-son plot line, we gotta do something with it, so they gotta get back to Brooklyn. I could have taken or left that. It didn't really add much to me, and my fiance said, and I think this is perfectly fair criticism, the end fight seems to come out of nowhere. I mean, it really, it's funny because the whole movie is build up to it, and then it just kind of starts. I like the payoff to it, where they defeat Bowser together as equals. That's really good. But I just felt like we could have stayed in the Mushroom Kingdom for all of that. It just wasn't necessary. The end where we see that they have decided to go and live in the Mushroom Kingdom is really good, in the way that they teleport between their worlds back and forth. That's also really good setup. You may have noticed there's somebody important, somebody I haven't mentioned yet. Yoshi's not really in this movie. But if you sit through the entire credits to the very end, near the portal leading from Brooklyn into the Mushroom Kingdom, in Brooklyn, there is a Yoshi egg. And it cracks, and that's the end of the film. Man, whatever they do with the story of the next one, I'm really excited. I really want to see another one. I would gladly pay money to own this film. It's good. Is the story anything to write home about? No, but did you play the games? Neither are they. I mean, the stories are always the weakest element of Mario. Where this film shines is that the characters are a lot of fun. Their motivations are clear, concise. Everything has a purpose. There's not a lot of fluff and filler to this film. It really rolls along at a cracking pace. And again, I was like, we were coming to the end of the movie, the wedding scene, and I thought we were at the midpoint. I was like, man, this movie is ticking along. No, that was it. And the movie was over, and I was like, man, it feels like I've been here for an hour. And it had been almost 2 hours. I was really impressed. In fact, I don't say this much, but it's one of the only films that has come out recently where I feel like it could have actually benefited from maybe another 10 minutes. Just to get a little bit more of Luigi in there, but I'm not gonna be a hypocrite about it, because I constantly say that the biggest problem with modern movies is that there's no filmmakers or editors disciplined enough to cut the damn thing down to an hour and a half anymore. Every movie's got to be 8 hours long. It's just too long. This movie, everything that it wanted to accomplish, it came in, it hit it hard, it did it beautifully. This movie is so colorful. I don't know why every movie that comes out now has to almost look black and white. This movie pops off the screen. The characters are beautifully animated. The animation itself is beautiful. The voice acting, especially from Chris Pratt, but from the entire cast, is great. I was really, really happy with it. Of all the things that I could have asked from a Mario movie, they gave me the best Mario movie I could have asked for. Good job, DreamWorks. I don't know where you've been all this time, why you've been making so much crap when you're able to pull out a film like this that's actually surprisingly grown up, despite what it's about. So, thank you. Thank you very much. I will see it again. Listen, okay? Go and see this film. On a purely nostalgic Super Mario fanboy level, A+. As a, for what it is, B+. Easy. As a objective measurement, a B+ movie, I would say personally. Go and see this film. Because a lot is riding on this, okay? Let me tell you why you need to see this film. If you want to see a Zelda movie that is made with this level of love, with filmmakers who are willing to base a story that is full of references and done with a lot of affection towards the source material, with music from the games, if you want them to know that we want more stuff like this, make this a success. That's how you're going to get a Zelda movie. That's how you're going to get a sequel to this. Maybe a Mario Kart something later on down the road. If you want these things to be made into properties like this, then when they do it right, we've got to give them money to show them that we want more. So please make this a success. Gosh, please make this a success. So that's all I've got for you today. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.